People often ask, is the mediation process like a court process? And of course, I tell them, no, it's not. I have experience both as a court lawyer and also as a mediator. And in today's video, I'm going to just talk about the mediation process and especially comparing it with what happens in a court process very broadly. Obviously, for those who have gone through mediation, we know that it is a very different process. It's friendly, it's more accommodating, and the main idea is dialogue. It's not that we are fighting to convince a court to rule in our favor. So broadly, what happens in a mediation process? There are like five very broad steps that you go through in a mediation session. One, the introduction, where the mediator introduces himself or herself, and also the parties do introduce themselves. And for example, they state how they would like to be referred to during the process, what name to use, what title to use, and so on and so forth. And then it's at this stage also where the mediator explains what mediation really is and highlights on things, for example, or how it is different or distinguished from a court of law. Talk about issues, for example, of confidentiality, that whatever is discussed in a mediation process is kept totally confidential, and that it is impartial, that the mediator is not there to make a judgment or to rule in anybody's favor or against anyone, that it is I don't know, whatever, to explain the ground rules, what to observe, how to go about it, and so on and so forth. And people can ask questions and they can also clarify. Then the second step, which is like the core of the mediation, is to talk about issues. Yeah. When you talk about issues and not even anything complicated, think of issues as matters of concern to the parties. For example, just a question that, what brought us here? Yeah, what do you have in mind? Obviously, the first part of this can be very confrontational, because you're trying to resolve a conflict or a dispute and people are heated up. And like in a court of law, in mediation, parties have a chance to vent out, to say whatever it is that is on their mind, in their heart. And the mediators are trained to handle this, even when it gets probably very emotional. And then you go through that first process, which is, like I say, very confrontational, and probably you'll get to a breakthrough where you can start now getting to the more reconciliatory kind of phase. Then the third step, which may or may not take place, is what we call caucus. Yeah? A caucus is just private meetings with the parties. That the parties are not going to meet together. The mediator may want to meet the parties separately to clarify maybe some things and so on and so forth. But that doesn't always happen in every session. It's only if it is necessary. Then the fourth step, as it were, is what we call brainstorming. Probably you have vented out and you've gotten to a step or a stage where you can start like exploring the options that the parties have, and to see what is the best solution to their conflict and to their dispute. By this time, things are more toned down, as it were. Yeah. And then if you brainstorm, you may reach a conclusion on how to resolve your issue, or you may not, or it may be partial, a partial kind of agreement or settlement. And that brings us to the final step, which is what we call the closure, yeah, or the closing part of the mediation. It could end up in an agreement where parties have mutually agreed on how to move forward and face the future, as it were. They design their own solutions to that problem, and then you reduce that agreement into writing so that the parties can sign, and that of course becomes binding. Yeah, or it could be that the parties haven't reached any conclusion, and therefore you conclude that each party or both parties can take whatever other options that they may want to take to resolve their issues. But then the mediator, as you know, does not judge, does not pass a ruling or a judgment in the mediation session. So keep up with us on this channel, subscribe so that you can get informed and be updated on matters touching on conflict management and mediation. I'll be seeing you in my next one. Bye.